This episode of the Durian Pod is brought to you by Hexclad, official cookware partner of TDP.
Said, what about Tinder? Asians like what kinds of girls? Yo, which style of martial arts gets you laid? Whoa. Brandon Sue confirmed, what about the Illuminati? So I think I booked like one Toys R Us commercial, and the next gig right after that was Tropic Thunder.
Okay.
Whoa.
Which just like changed the entire trajectory of my life forever.
Right.
So, what?
I forgot about the caramel shouts.
This is crazy. This is crazy.
No, yeah.
Let's go.
Yeah,
Let's
right.
go, baby.
Cheers, guys.
Cheers.
Happy Monday.
Happy Monday. Tuesday, bro.
Oh, it's a Tuesday?
It's a Tuesday
I'm losing
today.
track.
It's been a week.
But yeah, let's get started. What's up, everyone? My name is David.
And I'm Jasper.
And behind the camera, we have our wonderful Heidi.
Hi.
This is another episode of the Durian Pod. This is the show where we showcase our friends who have fought against societal standards but still made it to the top. Today's guest is an actor starring in the newly dropped feature Tiger's Apprentice, now streaming on Paramount Plus. He's a martial artist. You can find a lot of demonstrations on the socials, including tutorials on how to beat up your boyfriend if he's annoying you. He is an entrepreneur. He's a burger expert. Let's put our hands together for Brandon Suhu.
Yeah.
Dude, thank you for having me on the pod, and thank you for that amazing intro, dude.
Yeah, of course, you deserve it. I hope you are ready to eat. We have a little bit of whiskey here, Japanese whiskey, a drink as well.
Yeah, I mean, you guys like asked me what were my like food preferences and drink preferences. You guys are really accommodating here.
It's gonna be a good time.
I've been excited to eat the whole day, so.
Please tell me you ate something. I mean, we've got a full 3 meals for you, but
You know, I had lunch, but you know, I kept some space. I kept a lot of
Smart.
space.
Yeah.
Very smart.
Yeah.
So I know you're from the 626.
Yes.
shout out,
Hey.
represent.
San Gabriel Valley
Yeah.
represent. Yes, sir.
And I know you have a lot of there's the acting space is really prevalent in your family.
Yes.
Tell us about that. Tell us about your upbringing.
Man, I mean, the Suhus, I kind of figured out later on in like my early 20s, the Suhus are actually like kind of an entertainment family. When I went back to visit the village that my family's from in the Guangdong province in China, I found out that the village that we were in was one of the first locations in China that was like a filmmaking region, like a kind of like an early version of Hollywood in China, in like southern China. And then, yeah, my grandpa was an actor. Some of his siblings were actors. And my dad worked on set. He was like doing stand-in work and background work. And he was Jackie Chan's stand-in, which is crazy. And then I have other cousins that are actors. So when I was like a baby, they were just like, hey, like you seem like pretty outgoing.
You have the aura.
Yeah. I mean, I was barely a human being, but they're like, he looks like he could be in front of a camera. And I was like, all right, put me in front of a camera. And it worked out. So I think I booked like one Toys R Us commercial.
Yeah.
And the next gig right after that was Tropic Thunder,
Okay.
Whoa.
which just like changed the entire trajectory of my life forever.
Right.
So I was 11 years old when I
Okay.
first started doing acting.
Yeah. No, Tropic Thunder was huge.
Yeah, I remember that one.
I think
Yeah.
definitely like a cultural moment in time where like for comedy anyways, you know.
Mhm, mhm.
But
Yeah, they don't make them like they used to, man.
certainly
right. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I actually kind of want to get into that later, but you said at 11 years old, you got this break at Tropic Thunder.
Mhm.
You killed it, by the way.
Thank you.
I didn't know an 11-year-old can kill it, but like you did a great job.
Thanks.
But you hear about these stories about like young actors kind of navigating like Hollywood or like their acting career, and then you get the stereotypical, maybe Lindsay Lohan or Justin Bieber.
Oh, it's the child actor syndrome.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. But then you also have like the Justin Timberlakes, and he turned out fine as
From
far
what
as we
you can
know.
see.
Exactly, yeah. As far as
Yeah,
we
you
know,
don't know how much therapy he's been in.
right. So I mean, what challenges have maybe you personally experienced? Do you kind of like relate to that? Is that true in your opinion, or
Yeah.
especially kind of being Asian, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like that's another layer of like complexity.
There's definitely some layers to unpack there. Thankfully, I've had a really good support system with my family. They were all really, considering they were like, Asian parents, they were very supportive of like my art career and my creative career. But yeah, I think there's a lot of pitfalls that can happen being a working individual at a really young age, especially in a place that's as crazy as Hollywood, where the limelight is always on you. You have a bunch of people just telling you like, "Oh man, you're doing great. Oh, here's like an amount of money that you've never seen before."
Yeah.
And you have all these freedoms and you have all these like voices in your ear that's just like, not a lot of 11-year-olds are really equipped to deal with those kinds of influences
Mhm.
and certain kinds of pressures that the industry kind of gives you, to have like the idea that like, oh, okay, like there's a monetary incentive. Like I had no conception of what money even meant, what a career even meant, what purpose even means, So at a really young age, like there was a little bit of like, you have to grow up pretty fast. I'm always the youngest person in the room. And yeah, there's just the pressure of just like, yeah, like you have to go up there in front of X amount of people and you have to perform and you have to like, because there's money on the line and there's like the studios are, like they want you to perform and execute. So that's kind of a weird thing to contend with at a really young age. I was kind of like not really that involved in the traditional schooling system. I was in and out of school. We're doing a lot of our school on set. And yeah, like my parents were pretty good about balancing my school with my work. It was weird because like instead of like the traditional like tiger mom kind of parents being like, oh, you have to study for the SATs before going out, you have to study your my mom would be like, oh, you have to study your lines. Or because I'm a martial artist, she'd be like, oh, you have to like memorize these forms in karate before you go out. Do like 50 push-ups and do like 10 backflips and then you can go hang out with your friends. So
That's
I guess
pretty
like
rad.
yeah, so I guess like if you had tiger parents growing up, you can kind of relate to a similar kind of like family dynamic. But the only difference was there was just a lot of eyeballs.
Yeah.
A lot of eyeballs and money kind of responsibilities that I had to like kind of like learn really early.
So do you think like the I guess the really helpful thing would just be to have parents they're like kind of guiding you through the process, Do you think that's where like a lot of child actors go wrong, is because they didn't have good guidance or a good like support, or like what do you think?
Yeah, absolutely. I think if you're really young and you're getting into the industry, it is almost like 90% up to the parents to like have their heads in the right place.
Right.
Their intentions and their understanding of the industry, their just like their heart and heads need to be in the right place because
Sure.
there's money involved, and there's like kids are pretty delicate people.
Yeah.
And, you have to protect them. You have to have their best interests in mind. There has to be a lot of love involved, which my parents were very good at.
Yeah.
So I was very fortunate to have the best support system I could going into this industry. But, it's not an easy industry to be in at a really young age,
Yeah.
There's a lot of weird dynamics that as like a preteen, you can't really quite wrap your head around.
Yeah. Shout out mom and dad.
Shout out to mom and dad
For real.
not letting me just be an insane
You
lunatic.
seem okay.
Yeah, I've managed. I've managed.
Okay.
I was just hoping to see like you weren't like gonna turn out to be one of those like princess pageant guys where it's just like
Yo,
your
Honey
mom's
Boo Boo?
like, yeah, honey Boo, like they're like this is exactly
No
what you
shade
have
to
do.
Honey Boo, but man,
Yeah.
I wish her the best, but that's not an easy lifestyle to grow up in.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
amazing that your parents gave you that type of support though.
Oh
right?
yeah.
Like that's really hard. I think hard pressed to hear.
Yeah.
Actually, so
It's really funny because the same kind of pressures that like other Asian families would give to their kids, like, oh, be better in school. Mine would be like, memorize your lines in this audition. You need to outperform these mofos.
That's so
You know?
funny.
So
Yeah.
it was a similar kind of like parental incentive, but
Yeah.
they were it was all love.
but it's the priority, right? Like
Yeah,
it's
they just want me to see the best for me.
yeah.
Yeah.
And that was always like the overhanging motif of my upbringing was like my parents just wanted the best for me. And even though like they might not have known exactly like the ins and outs of the industry, they definitely did their best. And I always knew that. So
Oh wow.
I'm grateful for that.
You kind of mentioned the word purpose, right? You were
yeah.
like, I was doing this when I was a kid. And so I remember when I was a kid, a lot of it was just me doing things because I was like set up to do those things. Like, oh, here, go to soccer practice, go do this and try it out. I guess what made you want to stay in acting? You did one thing and you did the Toys R Us commercial. What kept you in it?
Yeah. So similar to yourself, like when I was starting it off in the beginning, there was no bigger meaning to it. You know, it was just like I thought it was an extracurricular activity that was fun, and like as a plus side, I got money and attention. You know, I got some external validation. I had grown up saying like, "Oh, good job." So like that was like the incentive when I was young. But as I got older, I was just like, "Oh, like this is a life path. This is an actual career. This is something that people put their lives down on the line for." And that made me really appreciate it when I saw like, this is a big deal. You know, you don't just get to be chosen out of thousands of people to be on TV just because, you know, you think it's like a fun extracurricular activity. Like people do some like blood, sweat, and tears shit to get these opportunities, you know? So then that made me appreciate it more. And then like as I got older, I realized I'm like, oh, you know, storytelling and creativity and, you know, being an artist are things that are inherent in my personality. And those are things that I'm willing to continue pursuing to the utmost of my ability. And being able to do those things is such a privilege because so many people are just like grinding, like doing physical labor or doing things that are, I guess, like, you know, not, you know, maybe suboptimal, you know, like living pretty tough lives in order to just make ends meet. And the fact that I'm able to make something beautiful that I love and get paid for it is such a gift. And I should be so grateful for that. And when I realized that, I was just like, oh, I better take my shit more seriously.
Yeah.
So that was something that I realized maybe around like later teens.
Wow, later teens.
Yeah.
Later
That's
teens.
That's a
so
blessing.
early to be like, I need to take my shit seriously.
Yeah, I mean, it was a lot of my parents being like, you got to take your shit more seriously. But it was also just like a lot of me. I'm just like, all right, like, what am I really doing? Because clearly you're not taking school very seriously. You're not taking anything really seriously. But this is like, you need to start getting prepared for your life.
Yeah.
And acting was, it was what was like presented before me. And I was just like, you know what? I really do appreciate this. And I really do love what this represents. You know, you get to tell stories. You get to like, you know, you get to live the human experience vicariously for people. That's like kind of what acting is, because when you see someone's good performance, when you see someone being vulnerable on camera, you're kind of living that story with them. And I'm like, wow, you get to like be other people's lives for them so they can live that with you. Like, that's crazy.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I was just like, the fact that I get to do that and like people like have money to give me for that is,
For that.
that's nuts.
That's important.
That's fucking
Yeah.
nuts, dude.
Yeah, for
But-
sure.
Yeah.
But Brandon, you've been in this space for so long.
Mhm.
You've kind of seen it grow as an industry, as a space. Going back to Tropic Thunder, in your comment where it may or may not work today.
Yeah.
So that's that. I guess that's my follow-up question is actually Joe Rogan had Robert Downey Jr. as a guest on his
RDJ.
podcast.
Yeah.
And
Goats.
obviously GOAT, right?
Yeah.
But he asked him,
But the Joe Rogan experience is nothing like the Durian Pod
Oh.
experience, dude. Like, they pale in comparison.
yeah.
Oh, you're too kind.
They don't-
We haven't even fed you yet, Brandon.
I know.
Oh, dude, I
We'll-
can't
we'll,
wait.
we'll Venmo you later. But he asked him, do you think that Tropic Thunder could be made today? Do you think it's possible? Given, you know, characters like Simple Jack and Kirk Lazarus. And honestly, even your character rips open his shirt. There's a full-on chest tattoo. You're smoking.
Yeah.
And it's like, you know, the I think there was, back then, there was the idea of like a child
He's a
soldier.
drug lord.
Yes.
Yeah, which
So, like,
exists.
What are your thoughts?
Dude, if people can't accept the reality that there are dark upbringings all around the world, then I'm just like, you're blind to reality, because there are kids like that
Yeah.
exist right now. And to be like, that's an offensive representation, it's like, no, like, that's a real dude.
Yeah.
They showed me photos of the references that they used to create that character, and there's like literally kids wearing bootlegged Adidas tracksuits holding machine guns in like the Golden Triangle.
That's
Holy
crazy.
shit.
That were like kids.
Yeah.
Maybe they weren't running the camp, but they were definitely like, you know, offing the prisoners of war. Like,
Right.
that's a real reality that some
Right.
kids have to live. So that's a real representation of life.
Yeah.
But as far as like the Simple Jack character, I think that would have to be handled with a little bit more tact. And the
You mean RDJ with a black face?
but the
No,
thing
no,
about
no, no.
no, but that's the Simple Jack
That's-
character.
That was Ben Stiller with you'd
But the
have-
thing
that's
about
so
that
weird.
movie was what makes it so genius was, while it portrayed these things that are very like sensitive topics to discuss, it portrayed them in a satirical light.
Yes.
It had the self-awareness
Right.
to explain that, okay, like these things are probably not directions that we should move towards. They were clowning on people
Right.
that took those things seriously.
Right.
So people that actually think that it's okay to like wear blackface in Hollywood,
Right.
it was clowning on those people.
Mhm.
Right.
So that's what made that okay. So I
Right.
think in today's age, it would be a very delicate tightrope walk to be able to pull that off.
Right.
But, you know, satire is going to exist in every generation. So if you could understand like the self-aware aspect of it,
Mm-hmm.
I don't see anything wrong with it.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
It's definitely getting less and less. But you're right. That movie shined a light on what wasn't right.
Yeah.
And
It wasn't saying you should paint your face.
It wasn't like, hey, like,
black.
look at this. This is like, we should make fun of this. It was more like, hey, this is wrong, and we're gonna bring it to light. You know?
Yeah. He was a character that was just like obviously being like condemned by the other characters in the movie. They're
Yeah.
just like, bro, like, you're not black.
Yeah.
Like, why are you talking like that?
He didn't he win? He won an was that Oscar?
In real life or in the movie?
I think
I think he got some awards for
He
that.
got an award,
He
but I
got an
don't think he
award
won
for
the
that.
Oscar. Yeah.
or something.
But genuinely, like as an actor, as a performer, what he did in that project was so impressive that he deserves any accolades that he received. Because I think a lot of people that watched that, despite the fact that he was a white man wearing blackface, saw how good of a portrayal that was, and they were just like, you know what, that's so good that I can't even be mad at that.
yeah, better than Iron Man.
Yeah, dude, it was impressive.
But he was an actor that
Was playing an actor that was playing
right.
an actor.
It
Yeah.
was, I don't know.
No, that was a very meta film.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think I need to rewatch it because it was honestly
Yeah.
like it was a genius piece of filmmaking.
Actor Inception, right? It's
Yeah.
it's almost like I remember getting in an argument. This is back in the day when Stephen Colbert was doing the Colbert Report, and the internet trolls were saying, "How dare you offend him? He's a true Republican. He represents us." And I'm like, you do know he's not a Republican. He just plays that on the show,
Mhm.
and I'm like, he just does it so well that you think that he is, and that's
Yeah.
how I saw RDJ's performance. So that's so cool.
It's just good satire.
Yeah, really good
Absolutely.
satire.
yeah.
Well, I think actually, speaking of satirical, my stomach is like laughing because I'm still hungry.
Yeah,
I
what
love
a
that.
segue! What a segue!
That won an Oscar.
No, I'm hungry.
Hey, man.
My stomach's laughing at me because like,
Oh,
you have me
how
all day, bro.
crazy! Like, I think we might actually be attached to one of the best kitchens in Los Angeles.
Oh, thank
Hey,
you.
So, you
wow.
know,
Appreciate this.
if y'all got food, I'm open to it.
Hell yeah. So
All right.
so Brandon, we're about to serve you your amuse-bouche. That's going to be the first course that we always do at ROSALYNN. It's a small bite, but of course we're doing a 3-course tasting. So it's going to actually be a slightly larger portion. I'm going to go ahead and prepare that and I'll be right back.
Okay,
Cool.
sounds good.
Thanks. Well, anyway, guys, thank you for your patience on this. So again, Brandon, welcome to the show. At
Thanks.
ROSALYNN, we always welcome you with an amuse-bouche. And so it's always bright, acidic, tasty. This is going to be a full-blown Baja shrimp ceviche.
Wow. Is this like a little tostada you put it on?
Yes, it is. So the tostado was cooked in crab fat.
That's crazy. How did you acquire enough fat from a crab to cook these tostadas?
Let's just say we milk it.
You know this. All right, I shouldn't have asked.
I'm just kidding. We recently did a service with a lot of Dungeness crab, and so the head guts we saved, and then we went ahead and put a little bit of Evo from Graza, so the extra virgin olive oil, mix that in with the head guts,
And
then
it
deep fry.
rendered all like the head fat from it.
Correct. So there's going to be a little bit of that nuttiness from the crab, almost like the custard. The top is going to be that Baja shrimp that's tossed in passion fruit, yuzu, as well as Meyer lemon juice. And then we have heirloom cherry tomatoes, Persian cucumbers, a little bit of cayenne pepper to bring it all together, and then some pickled purple onions.
Thank you, chef. Wow, it smells so bright already.
Yeah, I gotta
Ready for this crunchy?
It's so bright and it's so fresh. I feel like I'm on the beach right now. Dude.
I wish we had a Corona right now. Or a Modelo.
I feel like they're-
Oh, michelada.
Oh, God, yeah.
And you were so generous with the toppings on this.
It's stacked.
Yeah, you really popped off with that, chef.
Thanks, bro.
what was your welcome to the industry moment? And
Welcome to the industry.
yeah,
moment.
and to define that, it's like a first harsh realization, something like this is not just fun and games anymore. You know what I mean?
This is one of like the most like soul shattering moments that has ever happened to me in an audition.
Mm-hmm.
But it was literally, I did my dialogue, I did the scenes, and that was all. You know, that was fine. I think I prepared decently well. And it was like I was in this room, and like 15 yards in front of me were 3 dudes with clipboards just taking notes. And I did my lines, and I was just like, all right, like there was the scene, and they're just like, all right, good job. Now before you go, you know, we just want to see like just one more thing from you.
Oh.
And I'm just like, it's not where you, it's not going in anywhere weird. It was just devastating.
Okay.
And they were just like, yeah, like make us laugh. And I was just like, what do you mean? They're just like, yeah, like be funny. And I froze. I was like, what the fuck do you mean?
Yeah.
What do you mean be funny? Like there's so many levels to just like making someone laugh that isn't just like should I just like do a little dance?
Right.
Like what do you mean be funny? And then the spotlight was on me, and I was just I froze. And they're just like, oh, if you don't have anything prepared, like it's cool. We'll just like, you know, call the next person in.
Oh.
And I was just like, no, wait, like I can be funny. I can put a smile on your face. Like, let me be funny. I can be funny. And they're like, okay. Like, show us something then. Crossing their arms. I'm like, all right, give me a sec. So I'm like, okay, like, can I take this chair? So I pulled a chair in front of the camera. It's like this big room. You hear just, I swing this chair over to fucking sit on, and I'm like, okay, what should I do? I take out my phone and I go on YouTube and I look up Pony from Genuine.
Oh, no.
And I start fucking performing Pony from Genuine on this chair in front of 3 men. And I'm just like, jump on it, my saddle, jump on it. And this is all completely improvised, unprepared.
Okay.
And they all kept the straightest face
No.
imaginable. And they were taking notes.
No! What
They're
are
just-
they writing?
I don't know, fucking Genuine Pony. Bad song choice.
No.
His hips are not very isolated. I don't know what the
Not
fuck they were
flexible.
I don't
saying.
even know what they would be writing.
But they were just straight faced observing me lip sync
God.
to Pony and taking notes. And it was the most undignifying, dehumanizing moment of my life. And so, like, halfway through the song, I hit pause on that shit. I put the phone back in my pocket. And I was like, and that was Pony, thank you. And I ran out of the casting room. I got into my car and I was crying. I was
Damn.
bawling because I was just like, that was the most
When was this?
soul-shattering moment ever. And I called my mom and I'm like, I never want to act again.
Yeah.
I hate this industry.
Oh my God.
Do you know what they made me do?
They made you dance to Pony, but
Look
Genuine.
what they did to my boy.
I can't watch that music video anymore.
Yeah, I hope I destroyed that music video for everybody watching right now. But yeah, that was like a traumatic Hollywood moment, which is like in hindsight, it's really goofy and silly.
Yeah.
But in the moment, as like a person who's just like, wow, like this is like my job.
Right.
You know, these people are watching me just like completely make a clown out of myself, which is fine. I'm used to making a clown out of myself, but if it's intentional, you know, like if I prepare some material, but like that was a moment where I was completely caught off guard.
Right.
And I was just like, man, this is rough.
Yeah. And it kind of exposes, you know, even though it was like a funny moment, thanks for making us laugh, by the way. It kind of exposed like the seriousness of it. Like, hey, make us laugh. Like, what? You know what I mean?
What do you mean?
Yeah. So,
And so whoever was in that room who was able to like pull off that moment, they deserve that job
Yeah.
because I wasn't the person for that, because that was a hard audition.
yeah.
Can I ask you now, if someone were to ask you, make us laugh, what would you do?
I fucking said fuck off.
Hell yeah.
I'd be like, pay me.
Fuck you, pay me.
Yeah, fuck you,
probably
pay me.
laugh.
No, I don't know. That's not like definitely not my style of humor. It's just like something that's pre-prepared, rehearsed, and performative. It's just like I think the humor comes out in situations and just like yeah, it comes out more naturally. So if someone were to say like be planned and comedic, that's not my style. I'd be like tough luck on that.
Yeah. How do you navigate personally? Like, for example, Robert Downey Jr. given that role of Kirk Lazarus, and then you're like, whoa, that's something I've never really dove into, but I guess I'll try it. You know what I mean? It's just so out of your realm or what you're used to.
Yeah.
As an actor, how do you kind of like navigate through that?
I mean, like as an actor, it's always exciting to try to play and experiment with things that are outside of your normal wheelhouse. So if given the opportunity, like, man, as long as it's not something that could be a liability, if it's not something that could be against my integrity, I would give it a try. I feel like as an artist, like you have to take courageous steps. You have to take bold steps, you know?
Yeah.
Because it does take a certain level of bravery to attempt something that you don't feel like is within your capabilities. You know, you have to step outside of your comfort zone.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that's what Robert Downey Jr. was doing, but you know, as an artist, like you have to take bold choices sometimes. So if something like that came my way, then I'd be down to take it on.
Yeah.
Yeah. If someone said like, yeah, like I want to see you do something crazy, like as an artist, I feel like that's kind of like a tempting opportunity.
Yeah.
Like jump on a chair and do Pony by Genuine.
Yeah, you know, it's like a bold choice.
It is a bold choice.
And not all the time it works out, but sometimes like, you know, you got to take that bold choice. You got to completely humiliate yourself in front of strangers.
Yeah.
But that's the beautiful part of like being an actor is like, you know, you kind of present yourself bare to the audience. You know, you're revealing your guts almost.
Yeah.
So if you're not willing to do that, then you might not be in the right industry.
Yeah. It's all
Absolutely.
vulnerability. So.
Can you tell us about like the last time that you felt like you needed to stretch for a role that was new to you and what you did to prepare? Or just like, you know,
Yeah.
you ready for that?
Yeah, I mean, I guess anytime that I have to like be extra vulnerable and reveal myself in a way that's just like painful and authentic to me. I guess like the last one that I can remember would be something like I mean even with Tiger's Apprentice, I had to be very genuine about just my own relationship with my mother because the grandma character from Tiger's Apprentice was someone was my maternal figure in Tiger's Apprentice. So I was injecting a lot of my own relationship to my actual mom into my performance of that character, which, you know, like having something that personal be aired to thousands of public people is a very intimate and personal experience, you know? So, I mean, like, I could give 1,000 examples that are similar to that, but it's just like, yeah, just even having people see what you're like at home, or even having people see what you're like when you're hurting, or have people see what you're like when you're mourning over the loss of someone you care about is a very private and personal experience. So like, those are ways that we have to just accept that you have to be vulnerable as an actor,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
No spoilers for the movie, but for Tiger's Apprentice, there were moments where like, you have to like really put in moments of my own life and my own family in there, you know? And that could be pretty personal for some people.
Yeah. Looking back on your career, can you tell us a story or a time when you had an inflection moment where you were kind of so low, you almost wanted to kind of quit?
Every
what you're doing.
fucking day. No, I'm just kidding.
Every day? You're like
Not
right
every
now.
fucking day. But no, like I was saying, like things like that audition were just like
Mm.
like soul shattering moments where I'm just like, man, like, am I really cut out for this?
Yeah.
Or like even like I would have nightmares sometimes about like being on set and just like completely flopping, you know, completely bombing on set. And like those would just be like my internal voice subconsciously being like, are you actually cut out for this? You know, like I think having that voice in your head is healthy too.
Yeah.
Because if you don't have that fear of really eating shit, if you don't have that fear of like, you know, like how bad can it really be, you know, maybe you don't really care about it that much. I think that's just an indicator that it's serious and important for you.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I've definitely had a bunch of moments where I'm just like, you know, where I feel like the stakes are on the line and I feel like there's a lot of pressure, but that's just like a more clear indicator to me that I'm on the right path because it just means that I really give a shit.
Yeah.
So
I couldn't put it a better way because I feel like acting has been kind of is so creative, right? And for us, like cooking, being in CPG, being in beverage, all that's so creative. And there's so many times that we've had instances where, for example, we did a catering event.
yeah.
It didn't go well. Like we're talking like the client was pissed, right? And again, it goes back to money, right? They're paying money to make you fulfill your dreams and your passions, and yet they were unhappy. And it's like that punch in the gut.
Yeah.
Right. So I can only imagine for you, especially being on that stage with people just literally just taking notes and they're silent. They're not even like giving you true feedback, right? In these situations, at least we're getting
They're
feedback.
just like, you're excused.
Yeah. I've yet to have that happen.
Yeah,
Knock
that
on
hasn't
wood, that
happened
does
yet, I
not
don't
happen. But holy shit, yeah. Because like all I get is scathing emails every once in a while. Like very rare. It's only
I don't know
happened
what's
twice.
worse. You know, having you really seeing their honest opinion of how bad you sucked, or just having them like try to hold it back in their face how much you sucked. I don't know what hurts more.
Yeah, I don't know. I
I
think
think
I
I'd prefer them to just tell me.
Yeah, tell me
Then
the
at least
feedback.
I'd be like,
It's
okay, I
constructive.
know. Yeah, or if it's not, if it's totally out of left field, I'm just like, okay, you just didn't get it or whatever. So I feel like knowing is better, in my opinion.
Yeah.
As opposed to being like, you tried.
you're excused.
You tried.
No, that's so bad. That shit would make me cry. I feel like.
Well,
I'll go in my car and cry.
that was something. All right, get out of here. Get out of the room.
All right.
That was
We've
something.
seen enough.
Yes.
That
We've
was-
seen enough.
All right,
Well-
you're good. The hand.
Well, speaking of knowing, it's time for our favorite dish.
Another
Segues
segue.
are so good.
Yo, your segues are better than mine.
Speaking of,
Yeah.
Mine have been pretty trash, but yours is good.
Hey, I'm practicing. Okay.
No, yeah.
It's our 9th episode of the pod. I think I've been practicing.
Nine's
So-
a good number.
Yes, it is.
I like 9.
Yeah. Is it one of your like horoscope numbers too, or whatever it's called?
No, I just think it's like a 3 that consists of 3 threes.
Mm.
So I think 3 is also just a really strong number. You
Makes
know,
sense.
triangles are really strong. They're very stable
It is.
shapes.
It is very stable.
And 9's made of 3 of those, so it's a good number.
I thought you were going
I
to say
like that.
something related to 6 and 9, but that's fine too as well.
No,
I
no.
was thinking about longevity. Are you
Oh.
Chinese by chance or
I am Chinese, yeah.
Jiu? Like
Jiu.
longevity
Joe, yeah, that's Joe.
over a long time.
Oh.
Very auspicious number.
Mm. This is
We-
going to be an auspicious episode.
Very auspicious.
We love auspiciousness.
Well, anyway, it's time for the favorite dish. I'm going to go in and prepare it, and I'll be right back. I'll walk you
Amazing.
through it.
Okay, cool. Thanks. Let's go.
This is going to be our favorite dish. This is a main dish that we serve at ROSALYNN right now, and I'm just very excited because this is coming on our most recent menu that's coming out next week. The Dungeness crab cake is sitting on top of heirloom cherry tomatoes that are imported from Mexico. They're in season. Very bright, sweet, delicious. We don't add any sugar to it because that's how good it is. The bottom is one of our flagship sauces. It is a yuzu roasted garlic crema that has a little bit of that. And on top of that, we finish it off with smoked ocean trout roe from Sar Nicolai. We smoke it ourselves with a little bit of hickory and mesquite to bring out the flavor. So a lot of layers here in terms of the crispiness, the smokiness, the umami, the salty, the sweet, acidity. It has it all. So I hope you enjoy this dish.
All right, I need to get a bite with all the different components in there.
Yeah, you got to get the cream on the bottom. You got to get the smoked trout roe.
Wow. Dude,
Yeah.
that is such a succulent dish.
I'm really happy right now.
Mm,
So many layers, so many textures.
it's juicy. And it has that sear just puts a really nice finish on that crab cake. Mm.
The crust has a nice texture to it.
Mm-hmm. Wow. Getting a little smoky in there.
Mm-hmm. Wish everyone could see this bite that I have in here. There's not even a camera that we can do this in, right?
It should be this one.
That one right there. Holy shit! Like,
Yeah.
Wow.
This dish
You put
kind
the
of
whole thing
hits
in your mouth?
all the marks that a good balanced dish needs to hit.
The moment when you were like, "Oh shit, this acting thing," because I know you came from a really young age. This acting thing is real, it's special, or like, "Damn, I can't believe I did that," or "I can't believe I was part of that." What was that moment?
You know, the damn I can't believe I did that moments come like in hindsight. You know, like when I'm doing things, I'm just very much just like in the moment of doing it, and maybe I'm not like processing the gravity of what I'm doing or the magnitude of what I'm doing.
Mhm.
But like looking back at it, I'm just like, damn, like I've done some pretty awesome stuff, dude. Like Teen Titans, I got to play Beast Boy in a couple movies for the voice, and I'm like, I grew up watching Beast Boy, you know, I grew up
Yeah.
watching Teen Titans, and to hold like the mantle of like that iconic DC character is like, that's huge. And he's working on like a show like Robert From Dusk Till Dawn, which is Robert Rodriguez's like kind of like thriller suspense drama series. I'm just like, man, like I got to play like a shape-shifting lizard vampire person
Yeah.
for 3 seasons. Like that's pretty badass. And the people that I've worked with, like, you know, like just it's usually in hindsight that I really start to appreciate and be like, wow, like these are some significant projects.
Yeah.
So I don't know when was the moment that exactly it really struck me that I'm like, oh, this is a pretty serious
It's just
path.
kind of like flows and waves, like mini moments.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, I feel like people recognize you as Beast Boy a little bit, you know?
Mm.
Like when they kind of hear you, they're like, dude, that's Beast Boy.
Sometimes people will be like, why did I hear your voice in something before? And I'm like, no, I'm not Dante Bosco. If that's what you're thinking, that's not me.
Yeah.
But people do definitely tell me like, yeah, your voice was definitely in something.
Yeah. Well, you definitely have like a really, really dope animation voice.
Thank you, man.
Like
I hope so.
I've been watching a lot of your stuff recently, and I put you in the category of like Aquafina and Seth Rogen. You can just recognize it, and all the roles that you've done, like it almost was like match made because it just fit that character that you played. You know, you have like Run Toti Run. More recently, you've done right. I think Teen Titans was your first voiceover gig, right? And then
One of my earliest, yeah.
right.
I think, yeah, it's probably my earliest significant voiceover role.
Yeah. And then more recently, you got into like Met Cadets.
Yeah.
And then obviously now you have Tiger's Apprentice.
Man, this guy
Ollie-
did the research. He watched the materials. He came prepared, man. Shout out to Durian Pod.
Appreciate it. All leading roles. But every time you would watch that character, your voice would just fit. You know, you just have that charisma, that voice for it. So I hope you continue to do that. But
Thank you, dude.
Yeah, but now that you've had kind of a lot of practice within the voiceover, what do you find is the most like challenging that you still kind of like struggle with as far as voice acting from like live action? And also, what do you enjoy the most being in it for X amount of time so far?
I think the thing that I enjoy the most and the most challenging thing is the same thing. The fact that like I'm by myself in the booth, completely generating the whole world around me just with my imagination is like that's a VO thing, you know. Like there's no other people that I'm acting with in the booth most of the time. You know, I don't get any props to handle. I don't get any environment to interact with. So like everything has to be like kind of self-generated. But also the coolest part about being in there is just that I get to be there all by myself. I get to be very selfish with my time, with you know, I get to be just very self-focused on just honing my voice, getting the best performance I can just with me and the director. You know, I get to just like hog all that time. So while that could be a challenge, it's also something that's really cool as like an acting exercise is like, all right, like this is just me and the director and maybe the sound engineer. And like, it's just us three really trying to make some art in here.
Yeah.
As opposed to like being on set where I have all these tools to play with, but it's also more things to like kind of keep track of too. You know,
for sure.
So yeah, I think my favorite thing and the most challenging thing are kind of the same thing.
Got it. How do you prep for like, let's say, because in Tiger's Apprentice especially, there's moments where it's like kind of like a tearjerker. You're like, damn, like that sucks. Like I kind of I feel for this character. How do you prep for that? Like personally, for a moment when there's no one in front of you to kind of have that feedback as another actor or actress, and you have to really dive into that emotion, you know, like is it just like completely imagination or just experience or both? Or
it works the same way as I think it does for live action stuff, you know, for on camera stuff.
Even when the person's not in front of you?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
It works in a similar way that like you have to just find a way to make it real for you. So whether or not you're by yourself, whether or not you're with someone performing with you, both ways, you just have to make it real for yourself. So yeah, digging into like kind of things inside of my own life that resonate with that scene or whatever scene requires me to be more emotional. Finding moments that are real for me that have that flavor. That's just kind of how I do that.
I see.
Brandon, I'm super curious about just your journey into martial arts. We've talked a lot about your live action, you know, acting career, your voice acting, but how did you get into martial arts? And, you know, I recently finished listening to the audiobook Be Water, My Friend. So I'm really interested in how, you know, Bruce Lee has created such a great philosophy just based on martial arts and studying that particular discipline. So kind of wondering if there is kind of this philosophy building aspect for you with martial arts and how that might affect how you live your life, how you approach your artistry, all of that. So
yeah, I mean, like Bruce Lee is one of my heroes. He's definitely like one of the people that shaped a lot of my growing up and one of the people that I modeled myself after. But one of his biggest philosophies was like martial arts is not a physical practice. it's a mind, body, and spirit practice. And I think all of those things go hand in hand. And I think also, if you really commit yourself to a physical practice, the other two aspects of your life also get upgraded as well. Like if you really commit yourself to going to the gym, or if you really commit yourself to increasing your mental fortitude, I think like by getting healthier mentally, then you're going to be more committed to keeping your body healthy and vice versa. And I think martial arts, like you were also talking about like, oh, why do I feel like a lot of martial artists have this like kind of grounded perspective on life? And it's like, because I think all of those things go hand in hand. When you have like a daily practice, when you have something that you're disciplined with, when you have something that helps you overcome difficult situations, something that kind of demands discipline and a regimented structure of you, I think naturally your mental and your spiritual growth goes alongside with it. And so for me, martial arts has always been one of the pillars of my life that kind of just like keep me feeling balanced and keep me feeling healthy. And if I'm not constantly keeping up with one of my martial arts practices, I feel like other parts of my life kind of like fall by the wayside. So I started off martial arts when I was 7 years old.
Wow.
At Taekwondo. And it was something that, my parents would always kind of put me in extracurricular activities. I would try to quit all of them. I didn't stick with piano.
Yeah.
I didn't stick with being a Boy Scout. And all of those things were just like, torturous for me. And same with martial arts. I tried to quit martial arts so many times, but it was the one thing that like when I did, my parents eventually relented and let me quit. I was just like, okay, that's the one thing that I miss. I'm like, like now I'm going to make it a choice to actually go back into it myself. And once it became like an intentional decision on my own part, then I really started to take it seriously. And then I really started to like, really see improvements in my game when it really became my choice.
Right.
Yeah.
And and I didn't even realize all the benefits that martial arts gave me until years later. I'm like, oh, that's what discipline and routine, practice and endurance really is worth. I'm like, oh, overcoming pain and hardship, I've done all of that when my master was kicking my ass in class. When things are really hard in real life, like compared to what it feels like to like some of the things I've had to like, overcome in class, like it makes it feel like it pales in comparison. Like after a really hard sparring day, the rest of life is like fucking a cakewalk.
Yeah.
So I think that's something that martial arts has given me, is just like, okay, like I know that I could overcome difficult things. I know that I can stand up strong in the face of pain. And I know that like life gives me as much as I put into it. And martial arts is the most obvious indicator of that. So you don't become a better martial artist automatically. It directly outputs what you input. So if you're not going into the gym, if you're not doing your fucking conditioning, if you're not kicking that bag, hitting that wooden board, whatever your martial arts style is, then you're not going to get the results. And I think that's like a hard lesson that you have to learn, especially doing martial arts. That's like, you're not going to get better unless you really put in the work. And that sounds so obvious, but like, it's just such an obvious lesson when you're doing something like hard training.
Absolutely. I feel like martial arts, I guess it's like when you are sparring, you get that immediate feedback. Right?
Oh yeah,
it's like,
from
if
getting
you're not
punched in the
trying
face.
hard, you're gonna get fucking whacked. You're gonna get, you're gonna be on the floor, and if you don't put in the work, it's gonna stay like that. And I feel like in life too, it is just, I guess like the feedback is not as obvious. Like yes, you have hard days, but it's not like getting kicked in the face. And you're like, I don't want to get kicked in the face.
Nothing's
again.
quite as clear of a sign as a fist or a foot in your face.
Sure.
That's an immediate, instant response. You're like, okay, I did something wrong.
Yeah.
And I'd much rather have a foot or a fist hitting me in the head than as opposed to something that could be a lot more severe and detrimental in my life. Like, like financial catastrophes or like relationship catastrophes. It's like, all right, things that you need to attend to in life, if you're not constantly working at it, could blow up in your face. So I think it's a lot easier to get a punch in the face than it is to get like have like some like lawyer send you a lawsuit or something. I feel like it's translatable. Because like if you don't take care of the things in your life, if you're not putting in the work and the effort and attentiveness that you need in your life, emergencies will happen. Yeah. And it just happens to be in martial arts. It comes in the form of a punch in the face.
Well, you really dove into it because you have a lot of disciplines, right? You're doing, obviously you started with Taekwondo, and then you told me you're doing karate, and then what else?
Taekwondo is what I started with, and then I went to karate.
Karate.
And then Kung Fu, which I did Wing Chun and Wushu. And right now, my favorite thing to practice is Muay Thai.
That's amazing, man.
And it's like being a chef. It's, once you like kind of figure out the different flavors of each of these styles, you can start putting them together and making brand new dishes. And then
That's
it really
sick.
becomes personal to you.
Yeah.
So someone like Bruce Lee, like you were talking about, like he created his own style, Jeet Kune Do. And I have a lot of other martial artist friends where it's like, what style do you practice? It's like, I don't really have a style anymore. You become styleless at a certain point. You just become a chef, or you just become like a multi-dimensional martial artist.
You're just like, I practice Suhu.
Yeah, I practice the Suhu path. It's like if I want to make spicy food, I'll incorporate a little bit of Sichuan peppercorn, a little bit of jalapenos, habaneros, whatever. But I'll also put a little bit of balance in there with some like creme fresca or whatever. It's like you'll just mix in different flavors. But like you do the same shit with martial arts. You're managing distance with Taekwondo, but you're throwing that power with Muay Thai, and it's like you're making totally new dishes.
I love that analogy. Are you actually cooking the next dish? Actually,
No. But for me, like I think everything can be tied in with food. So I'm on the perfect podcast.
Yeah, that's just it's just so crazy to hear because like I will admit that my parents made me do karate when I was a kid. I sucked. I just had no talent physically, and it wasn't until actually in the last 3 years that I finally started going to the gym, being much more physical, active cardio, self-defense classes. So now I'm like finally like hearing you describe all this, it's making a lot of sense, right? Like very much so like you said in the comparison of food and I guess now like protecting yourself or Muay Thai or whatever else is like I have to kind of carve my own path when it comes to culinary. I have no style. Right? My flavors are all just kind of all over the place. They call it, like I've had people call it a clusterfuck of flavor.
Good.
But it's a good thing. And exactly
Because
how
then
describing
you're forming your own personal identity. No one can do what you do.
Yeah. I got to follow the Suhu mentality.
That's right.
No,
No
for
one cooks
sure.
like Jasper Lynn. It's the Jasper Lynn way.
It's the way of no way.
Yeah.
Yep.
The way of no way.
It's kind of
No
like,
way,
man,
no
like
way.
I noticed like all the creatives, they have the same theme that pops up, like what you just said and what you just said. Like last time, we had a DJ, So Super Sam, shout out So Super Sam.
Yeah, what's the
But
saying?
she was talking about how when she first started DJing, like they expected her to play like, oh, you're only allowed to play R&B. But then once she started playing like TLC and you mix that in with like T-Pain, then you mix it in with like Ty Dolla $ign. That's your like her own shit, and then that's what breaks barriers and that's what makes it great,
And but you have to know the rules first before you can break the rules.
Exactly.
Yes.
And that's with every discipline.
Exactly.
So like you can't just like go into a style willy-nilly and just like bullshit something and expect it to be effective. But in order to be a proper, fuser of things, in order to be a proper pioneer of something, you need to know all the basics and all the foundations and all the fundamentals. Then you can start putting shit together and you really make it your own.
Right.
First you gotta like at least piggyback off of the backs of giants, off the shoulders of giants, because they figured it out first.
Right.
And then once you learn all the basics, all the fundamentals, then you can make your own thing, like Bruce Lee, like So Super Sam.
Yes.
Yeah. Speaking of putting everything, I was just really thinking about when you were saying a punch in the face, and one of the things that I've very much prided myself on in terms of flavor is punching you in the face about it. So now
Violent flavor.
violent flavor, and I want it to explode in your mouth. So
Wow. This is like, how many dates have we been on, man? This is crazy.
it's our third one.
Wow. My third ROSALYNN date, he's going to explode in my mouth?
So I'm gonna go ahead
Whoa.
and prepare your last bite,
Uh-huh.
the final bite,
The final bite.
and I'll be right back.
I
Think
can't
you're
wait.
gonna like this, Brennan.
Yeah.
I can't wait. That's crazy. Good.
I'm gonna drink this real quick.
Yes.
Salud, salud.
Cheers to that.
Cheers, guys. This is fantastic. Thank you. Cheers, cheers, salud. So, Brandon, the last thing that we always do at ROSALYNN is always the most decadent, luscious, most excellent, crazy dish that we always do. It's always what we call the final bite. And of course, again, this is a 3-course tasting menu, so we made sure it was a big final bite. And I wanted to pay homage to the fact that you actually are involved with Stacks,
Yes.
and an amazing burger chain that does smash burgers. And I adore burgers. I've never made a burger before, for the record. And so I decided to make one.
Could have fooled me. Look at this.
And we decided to kind of up it. So we have a croissant bun to give it extra flavor. It's been cooked in Australian Wagyu beef fat. The Australian Wagyu there is from our friends over at Ligma Provisions. That is actually Australian Wagyu ground chuck BMS 8-9 ground into the fattiness. For our viewers who aren't familiar with BMS, that is beef marbling score. The Aussies used to rate their steak from 1 to 12. And 8-9 is insanely high because an A5 is a 12 out of 12. The Japanese A5. A US Prime is a 2 out of 12. We're having an 8-9 ground up here. We have heirloom tomatoes because they're coming right into season. We have a little bit of our yuzu garlic crema that you had in the last dish. But to top it off is, again, like you said, Yeet Hey, our chimichurri sauce that we have here at ROSALYNN, which has cilantro, roasted scallions, Sichuan peppercorn, and our own chili sauce, herbaceous, umami filled. And then, of course, that bun with a little bit of garlic on there.
Damn, he said
so.
herbaceous.
I liked that too.
Dude.
I went.
Everyone's about to with the herbaceousness.
He's making me BMS right now. My beef marbling score. Dude,
It's up to
I'm
6.
getting some beef mood swings right now, dude.
But guys, please enjoy this first attempt at a burger featuring Yeet Hey.
Cheers.
Salud.
What?
I forgot about the caramelized shallots.
This is crazy. This is crazy.
No, yeah. God, look at this, guys.
Yo,
Look at that drip drip.
Stacks ROSALYNN collab or something.
Oh, god damn. This is
How are you going to introduce me as a burger maker and then make this? We make a double cheeseburger, dude. This is like PMS Wagyu, Australian croissant, bone marrow butter, truffle foie gras, whatever, dude.
don't give me ideas, dude. The next one's gonna have foie gras next time you come on the show.
This is so crazy.
The sauce is incredible.
I mean,
Oh my.
this is just a whole different beast, man.
Okay.
It's so wet.
Mm-hmm.
It's getting all over the place. Looking back on your journey, what is a piece of advice that you hold dear to yourself that you can give to aspiring actors that maybe want to stay relevant, but also stand out at the same time? Personal gems that you want to leak out.
Okay. Well, I think in terms of standing out, there can only be one you. You know, if you're an actor, you know, there might be other people that have more like higher acting accolades, or if you're a martial artist, there might be other people that have higher degrees of belts or, you know, more tournament first place wins, you know, or there might be chefs that have more restaurant openings than you or have more Michelin stars than you. But like, who is like the zenith of all of those things together? There's only you. You know, like no one can beat all of your life experiences and all of your goals and all of your accolades combined. There's only you. So once you really lean into those things that only you can really do, then you're going to be the best in that field and you could really stand out, because there's not going to be, for me, for example, you know, there's a lot of things that I'm really passionate about, including acting, martial arts, food. And there's not going to be another, you know, cooking, acting person that does all those three things at a higher level than myself, because like what other effing Brandon Sues are there, you know?
Yeah.
So if I could really lean into what makes me me, then I'll be the best at that, and no one can ever take my place in that. So I think that's a really easy way to stand out, is just so cliche, but really be yourself.
Yeah.
Because only you could effing do that. And that's the beauty of just being like a human being, man, because we're really all such snowflakes, you know? You really are special.
Right.
And, you know, that sounds cheesy to say, but you really are, you know?
Yeah. That's dope. I love that. And honestly, just having this conversation with you here tonight, I'm sure they can attest to it too, but like we can genuinely feel that from you, you know, just based off your personality. And,
Thank you.
yeah.
Yeah, seriously.
But let's talk about Tiger's Apprentice. I know you've been promoting it hard. Like I said, streaming now on Paramount Plus. Last month it was released, so go check it out. It was a super fun movie. Crazy cast. Crazy cast.
Insane.
You got Michelle Yeoh, Henry Golding, Sherry Cola. There's obviously Brendan Suhu.
Yes.
And yeah, crazy cast.
He's
Don't
a big
forget.
star, yeah.
But from that project, what's a memory that you will forever keep with you, just in that experience?
Yeah, one of
I like that laugh. What does that mean? What does that mean?
So because we were shooting during the pandemic, a lot of our moments we had to record separately of each other. So, you know, we were like kind of just having to imagine what we were all sounding like and like playing off of that, which is, it's not the most ideal way to do a performance. You know, I'm just imagining how Henry would sound. I'm imagining how, like, you know, Michelle Yeoh would sound, and I'm acting to my projected version of her, which is like, it's not the best. So a couple times during the recording process, we actually got to be in the booth with our other actors.
No way.
So I had a scene with Leah Lewis, who's super talented, awesome actress. And also, of course, the namesake of the movie, I had some scenes with the tiger himself, Henry Golding.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, we had a whole day together and we were recording. And one of the funniest things was like he had to like be at another gig right after our recording session, but the studio ordered lunch for us. And because Henry was coming on set, we went fancy that day, so we got sugarfish. We got a sugarfish bento box, which yeah, sugarfish is great, dude. So yeah, that was our catering for the day. Whereas usually it was like maybe like Mediterranean takeout or like what is that other place like Aroma Cafe or something in the valley. But we got sugarfish that day, and Henry was like he ate half of his food and he's like, I'm not gonna finish this, like, you know, I'm gonna toss this. I was like, wait, don't toss that. I could pass that my way, bro. So yeah, I had my order of bento and I ate Henry's food. You know, there was still bite marks and son of it, and I was just like, wow, I got Henry's sushi. I got double the sushi. That was awesome.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
So yeah, that was a fun little moment. I got to eat Henry Golding's sugarfish
I love
bento
that.
box,
Yeah.
imbued with the energy of Henry himself.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, yeah.
Must have tasted better.
Imagine,
Yeah.
imagine all of the opportunities that you guys would have had to have if you guys shot, you know, next to each other and kind of like bounced off the energy off of each other versus like, you know, unfortunately the pandemic happened. So yeah.
But yeah, that just means imagine how much better the sequel's gonna be
Ooh,
when we actually get to record together.
Okay. Is that a
Yo, I'm just saying. I'm just putting that
Okay.
into the ether. I can't
That's it.
confirm or deny
Manifest it,
this.
manifest it.
You hear that, CBS Paramount Plus?
I can't confirm or deny what's going to happen in the future.
It was a great movie. What else do you have in store on the horizon?
You know, I
I heard you just came from a couple of auditions,
I've
tapings.
been traveling for a bit.
Mhm.
I've been doing a lot of promo for those projects, and getting back, I'm trying to figure out like a new living situation. So just like life stuff is what I've been dealing with over the past recent times.
Right.
But also like because my whole life has been spent for the most part in front of the camera, I've been exploring other avenues of like different like creative passions.
Yeah.
Like I'm a fan of design. I'm a fan of illustration, and I've always had like entrepreneurial kind of ventures in my head. So I've been pursuing those a bit
Yeah.
recently.
No, yeah, you've definitely been in the front of the camera for like the past few years, like you know,
Most of my life.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Decades.
Well, especially the past year, like you had Met Cadets, you had like Tiger's Apprentice. You've been busy.
yeah, man.
So
So now I'm just like, okay, like as much as I am a creative, which I'm going to continue to be for the rest of my life, I'm a storyteller. I'm always going to love telling stories. I'm like, okay, like where are other things, not even in the entertainment industry, that I feel like I could provide value? So, yeah, I don't have anything that I can announce yet, but there's some things that
Okay.
I'm working on in the works. That's such a non-answer, but yeah, there's stuff in the works.
that's
Yeah.
all right. That's all right.
Yeah.
We love it.
Don't worry.
Love
We're
it.
going to work on burgers together. That's it.
Yeah,
You already know.
yeah.
Collab,
Stacks X
collab.
Rosalind.
Yeah,
There
let's
you
That's
go.
what's happening.
All right. Here's a fun question. If you can assemble a
Finally, a fun question.
I know. Okay, if you can assemble a team of 3 martial artists, dead or alive, in their prime, to fight beside you to clean up the streets of Los Angeles, who are you calling up? Who are the goats? And you're part of that team. So there's a team of 4, but you pick the 3, dead or alive, in your motherfucking prime.
Okay, well, I definitely need like the most like firepower in terms of like who do I think like could really, has the most like in practice combat ability.
Yeah.
So I mean, I'd have to take like the world champion fighters of the world, like so I would take someone like I don't know how good he'd be on a team,
Right.
in terms of like his like teamwork dynamic, but if I could like really convince John Jones to be on the team,
Okay.
he'd murder
Yeah.
for good, for the force of
Yeah,
good.
yeah.
Right.
Mike Tyson has really turned a new leaf in his path of self-growth and reflection and spirituality. He's a brand new man. He's not the same like ear biter that he was, So,
Which could be a useful,
you know
you know what I mean?
I've seen it be very effective.
Yes.
You can biting ears is very effective. But in terms of just people with just like raw power of just like being able to like, inflict force upon other people, I'd say John Jones and Mike Tyson. Boom, boom. The two,
Yeah.
some of the greatest warriors of our time. And then in terms of like having like to balance it all out, to have a little bit more of that grounded visionary aspect of the group. I mean, what better than the visionary legend himself, Bruce Lee? So I think we have like the firepower and we have the balanced mental mindset that could really create like a fully fledged team.
Yeah.
And I think I would be like the avatar in between all of them. I'd be
That's
like
sick.
I'd be like half the brawler and half the philosopher. And
That's the
I
team.
think we could really clean up these streets.
I love that.
Somewhere in the world, Jackie Chan's punching the air.
Yeah, sorry, Jackie. Yo, if the question was different, if I would to be like the most entertaining, most dynamic, most enthralling martial arts team, he'd be on there.
Okay, let's mesh the real life versus like the entertainment.
Okay.
Obviously, Bruce Lee is just
Bruce Lee's in there because he I feel like he has his hands in both sides, He has the mental aspect and the physical aspect. So he's still there. I need like, a strategist there. I feel like Bruce Lee could really help with that. But for like the fun part, maybe Jackie. And it's a toss up between someone like, Jet Li or Donnie Yen. Jet Li or Donnie Yen. These are the goats.
they are.
Like these are the people that I grew up with, and maybe even a little bit of Stephen Chow, but he's more of just like the entertaining aspect of it. But for martial arts, Donnie Yen, Bruce Lee, Jackie Chan. Yeah.
Epic.
Yeah, that's
Epic.
dope.
Let's say a new Avengers Marvel. Let's do it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
With Brandon Suhu.
Oh man. Yeah, I think my
Yeah.
life would be set.
yeah. Donnie and Jack can battle it out to see who takes the last spot.
Right.
So, Brennan, I think that's the last of our course. We appreciate you being here.
Thank you.
We do hear that you are an adventurous eater. Is that true or false?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. What's the most adventurous thing that you've eaten?
I don't even know if I could say it on camera.
We,
Man, I've eaten some shit, man.
we could bleep it out.
No, I'm just kidding. Nothing crazy. Nothing
Okay.
nothing illegal.
Okay.
Yeah, man. I've consumed all types of food. So when I was in China, in I think it's Anhui Mountains, I had like hairy moldy tofu, which was delicious. I also had like snake soup, that turtle soup. I had guinea pigs in Peru. I've had insects all over Asia. I've eaten some shit. I had a starfish one time at a street market that gave me food poisoning.
It's not tasty.
Yeah.
Dude, starfish
No,
is not
disgusting.
food.
Yeah.
No.
You shouldn't eat starfish. I
I
mean,
don't know why people put it in there.
what starfish is. It's like the Roomba of the ocean. It just sucks up shit from the floor.
More
And then
flavor.
if you eat that, you're just a shit eater,
Literally.
Yeah.
No, I've eaten some terrible things, man.
Okay. Well, you might be ready for this next one. We want to thank you so much for peeling
What
back.
are you gonna give me? What the hell are you gonna give me?
He's about to go starfish on
We
you.
want to thank you for peeling back the
Are we gonna
spikes
pull
of.
something out of here? We're going straight. Have you seen like the boys, like the deep, when he
Yeah.
has to eat his homie?
Oh yeah,
You gonna pull that on me, dude?
Oh, when they forced him to eat his octopus homie.
Yeah,
or
the
whatever?
octopus
Oh
homie.
god, that was
Oh,
so
yeah.
bad.
We're not gonna make you eat a homie,
Oh, thank
but we
God.
do appreciate you for peeling back the spikes of life with us.
Yeah, man.
So it's only right that we pull back the spikes of life for the next course. The
Spikes.
fourth and final course. We today have a durian fruit for you.
Oh, I love durian.
love durian?
Oh,
I love
Perfect.
durian.
great.
So we were gonna give you
Man,
a
you
choice
scared me,
of
man.
ice cream or the pulp. Have you ever had the pulp?
I've had both.
Okay, we're gonna do the pulp.
Can I
for
get
you.
both?
Yes.
Can I get ice
absolutely.
cream
Hell
with the
yeah.
pulp on it?
Hell yeah.
Oh.
With a little bit of the
Yeah, no, don't put your hand there. No,
You don't think
it probably tastes
Yeah.
good though.
You think it'd be good?
Yeah, it tastes good though.
We'll have it as a side. We'll
Oh,
have it as a side.
bet.
Let's do it.
It might be a combo.
All right, I'm gonna go grab it.
Yeah, so David's actually going to prepare this one.
I love.
This is actually the first time we're doing this. So I think it'd be right if you do the honors and cut us up equal amounts.
Oh no, this
four.
is all you do.
Oh,
No,
absolutely.
no. We all gotta do it. We all gotta do it for the first one at least.
Are you guys not durian fans?
like gotta cut it up?
It's just
We're
me.
all gonna eat this together,
Okay.
and then the next episodes.
Isn't
sure.
there a seed in there?
There's a seed, but he can just cut out some flesh, and we can eat some of the flesh.
Okay, I was gonna say
Is there really a seed? Oh, there is.
you're
There's
making
a
Brandon
seed.
work, dude.
Okay, so I'm gonna vivisect the seed out of it first.
BB sick.
Okay, there it is. Oh, there's a couple seeds in there.
Have you've had it, no?
I have. My parents love
You
it.
can tell on our.
My parents love it. I'm not the biggest fan, but
It's like
For
it's-
Brandon, I'll
it's,
do.
it's
I'll
like
do it for
it's
the
like,
drink.
it's like
Oh, for
hot
me?
ones. You gotta
You
eat
do
it
it
with
for
them.
me.
You gotta
I'll
eat
try
it with
anything
them.
twice, but this will
Gotta
be
eat it
like.
with- it's because it's frozen.
Do you
So
think
this-
freezing it has like an effect on
Absolutely.
It
Yeah.
doesn't smell
Absolutely.
bad.
It's just like when you have wine
Or
and
stinky,
it's
sorry.
cold. You
Cheers,
won't
guys.
that?
smell.
Whoa.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Wow.
Cheers.
It does kind of like mild down this
It
aroma
does.
a bit.
So we should leave a room temp for a bit.
Yeah.
No.
Cheers. Cheers to this.
Cheers.
Thank you. eating durian on the durian pod.
It's so delicious, man.
It's actually not bad.
It's fucking amazing, dude.
It's not bad.
I love durian.
I love durian.
It's like caramelly, it's custardy, but with a hint of onion.
I do
Some
taste
people-
that onion, caramelized onion.
Yeah, it's like caramelized onion, but with vanilla.
It's so
Oh, yeah.
delicious.
I will say it's actually not bad when it's frozen.
Yeah,
When it's like on its own, like
Dude, I'll,
can't do
dude,
it.
I'll take more, man. That's delicious. I love durian. I was just in Bali like a couple months ago.
That's right,
And like
yeah.
literally I was like at some guy's house and he knocked a durian off of his backyard tree. And I split it like in his farm. And then we're just like all just barefoot eating it in his hut.
that sounds fire.
It was amazing.
Yeah,
It was such a like a raw experience. I was like, this is why I go out of my country for.
yeah.
Yeah, that wraps it up. My name is David.
And I'm Jasper.
And I'm Heidi.
I'm Brandon.
Yeah.
Hey, and this is another episode of the Durian Pod. We will see you at the next one. Peace.
So much fun.
Good job, man.
Dude, thank you, brother. Appreciate you.